Hello there, coming well from here. Over 7 months since the last general Nintendo Direct. And when they are holding back so much, and what you reveal is Star Fox Remake, or Star Fox 64-4 as Nintendo Life put it, you are holding back a massive catalog of games, something that also Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has been teasing following the backlash that came from the Nintendo financial briefing in May. So what can we expect, and when can we expect it most of all? Well, there are a couple of options, so let's get straight into them, and we'll start actually with the day itself, because there have been clickbait videos talking about June 3rd, even though this is literally 2 days before Summer Game Fest, and I'll say straight out, that is not gonna happen. Nintendo doesn't want to be first out, they don't want to be overshadowed by any would-be competitors or developers. They know that we could get a GTA trailer in late May or in right before Summer Game Fest, so they're not a part of Summer Game Fest, and Nintendo also doesn't want really to be a part of Summer Game Fest. That's why I would say the first week of June is pretty much out, and the same could be really the case with the second week of June, where we'll see other presentations from other developers. Which leaves us only really with two options when it comes to June, and that is the week of 15th to 19th and the week of 22nd to 26th. So if you want to time this obviously with the launch of Star Fox, it will make sense to have it around this time frame. But on the other side, it's more meaningful to have a Nintendo Direct when you don't overshadow the game that you revealed recently, but it's possible that they don't really care. They have bigger fish to fry in this Nintendo Direct, something that can sell far more units. What is Nintendo holding back? Well, the answer is quite simple. We know that Zelda has its 40th anniversary. We know that Ocarina of Time Remake has been reported and has been rumored, and with more and more details as to release timings as well, that being holiday, and also that it is a full-on remake, not just a remaster of Miitopia. So I think that is probably the game that is the most certain, the most secure. It is the 40th anniversary. Like, the big question is it going to tie with the movie? Because we've been hearing reports and rumors that there could be some Ocarina ties to this movie. We've already had the Lego set previously this year, which means that Nintendo is just bringing Ocarina of Time back to people's attention. But Ocarina of Time is a way that Nintendo has celebrated Zelda's anniversaries in the past. We saw that with the 25th anniversary, where we got Ocarina of Time 3D, and it launched pretty much around the time of E3. Because let's be honest, this Nintendo Direct is really a replacement of E3, just like we've seen in 2022, 2023, 2024. Last year, no, but the reason we didn't see it was because it was right after the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, plus they had a massive first-party brand new game coming out in Donkey Kong Bonanza, so of course the June Direct then became Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. This year it's different. This year it's all about filling out the second half of the year, and that's mainly why we need a Direct in this time frame, so that you fill out August, September, October, November, December. Nintendo's done a really good job with filling out every month thus far with something from themselves. And if it's holiday, well, then it's very likely that Ocarina of Time Remake is going to end up in around November. So around the time frame of Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment last year. It's obviously different from Ocarina of Time 3D, which was a summer release, but if you don't have any other major Zelda releases, then, which in 2011 was Skyward Sword in that time frame, I think that Ocarina of Time is the only option here. And of course, some will say Twilight Princess because it's the 20th anniversary, but I have a feeling that Nintendo is going to take a different approach when it comes to remaking 3D Zelda games this time, and that is to simply start from scratch in chronological order. So Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and then finally Skyward Sword. This will take several generations, obviously. I think the first two are only possible on the Nintendo Switch 2. We usually don't have more than 1 to 2 3D remakes. The most we saw was on the Wii U and on the 3DS before the next top-down Zelda game, which some would say would have been a better fit for the 40th anniversary. Like, the rumor right now is that we're getting that in 2027. So what else could Zelda be coming up with? for the 40th anniversary. There's slight possibility of seeing the reveal of the next open-air Zelda game, since we have passed over 3 years of the Tears of the Kingdom, and in the case of 25th anniversary, we did get a taste of the Zelda HD project, but that wasn't the next Zelda game. That one was revealed years later, which was also maybe a mistake when it came to the Wii U. We were pretty deep into that console before we got it, but if this game is not coming out until, say, 2029, it makes sense to wait until 2027 and then have a 2-year marketing cycle instead of a over 3-year long one, as we saw in the case of at least Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild had a little bit shorter one from 2014 to 2017. But those are at least Zelda's options. Next we have Mario, which has seen quite a bit with the 40th anniversary. Of course, everyone is still waiting for a 3D Mario game. Everything, including Nate Hate, is pointing to that it's not happening this year. Could a reveal still happen? There's always possibilities when it comes to this, but I'm just sitting with a feeling that when it comes to 3D Mario, they usually want to reveal it just a few months before it's out, and then have a very strong marketing cycle for that. If it's not coming out this year, what's the point of revealing it? I just feel like it makes more sense to have it at a later stage, but I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to see a new 3D Mario. If we're getting a Mario game this year, it could be Luigi's Mansion. We know that Luigi's Mansion on Nintendo Switch sold exceptionally well. It was even close to being in the top 10 best-selling games on that system for a while at least. And it's been 7 years at this point since that game, so it makes sense to have that as, say, a Halloween game in October. Of course, there are other candidates there as well. People have been talking about the Duskbloods. We have Elden Ring that needs to get a release date, thinking now third parties from software specifically. And here's another reason why we're probably not going to see a direct before Summer Game Fest, namely that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 could be revealed at Summer Game Fest or by Square Enix separately. That covers third parties. Going back to first party, Metroid has been rumored for a while to get a Super Metroid remake. I hope it's not the case. I hope we're getting a new Metroid game. We know that Mercury Steam, they had a layoff recently. So the question is, why is this layoff? Is it because they have finished another game and because of that they don't need as many people following the conclusion of that project? So could Metroid 6 be completed at this stage? We saw that with Metroid Dread, after all, 5 years ago. Of course, we have already had an sports game this year and Mario Tennis Fever. I have no idea why they had a tennis game during the Winter Olympics, but Nintendo Switch Sports could easily end up being a summer game. It could be, for what we know, it could even be the August game if they want to time it correctly, because a summer game makes sense in the summer, and then Fire Emblem could be a good fit in September, and just like that, we've pretty much filled out the entire year. Reveal a Monolith Soft game for December, and boom, there you have it. Nintendo has pretty much won the summer and this direct. The question is, of course, if we are ready to see anything of Super Smash Bros. We've seen this game revealed in the past, well over a year. We saw that with the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and the 3DS, where it was revealed at E3 2013 and then came out close to 1.5 years later in 2014. Depends, of course, whether we are getting a Switch 2 edition more of Ultimate with just new stages and characters, or just sort of overhaul or reboot in a sense, since you will not be able to have all the characters. You know, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe strategy might actually be a better idea. Pikmin also has its anniversary this year. Question is there anything new coming out? I sort of doubt it. I think Miyamoto is too busy with other projects, and Nintendo is also not going to throw a Pikmin out unless they can have it in, a warm season, so summer, so that reveal would have already happened. Summarize a little bit, I would say we are looking at June Direct or very early July Direct, depending on how Nintendo wants to market this around the launch of Star Fox. On one side, the Direct could be great marketing for Star Fox, but on the other, it could be completely overshadowed. But then again, we saw that with ARMS as well, and it was partially part of the E3 Direct. It came out right after E3 in 2017. I think that it is a possibility. It is a possibility that we could have a Direct shortly before, so the week before Star Fox is out. We could even have it the same week when we think about it as a reminder, and it's like, yeah, this game is coming out and you should play it now. Maybe even a demo could be announced so that people who haven't played Star Fox actually are enticed to do it in this case. But there's also the option of the week after. Star Fox is already out, has got its first sales, its first weekend at least, and then you bring on the future, since we are at that point in a month, the final month with confirmed Nintendo releases. We will need dates for August, September, November, October, and so on. But what do you think about Nintendo Direct? Do you really think that it could be somehow before Summer Game Fest? Or do you think it's gonna be the week or 2 or maybe even 3 after Summer Game Fest? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to Heroes, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf and Kintaro. You rock, and please enjoy these awesome videos.